Hi, everybody. My name is Sam Opsahl, and I work with Indiana Humanities as a program associate. On behalf of Indiana Humanities, I couldn't be more excited to be welcoming our viewers in for this special bonus content from the Waterways film tour. We are very proud of the Waterways films, both for the conversations they've sparked and the success they are now finding out in the larger Hoosier region. And I'm pumped to be here right now and talking with the filmmakers of one of those films. So, Sam and Raymar, how are you all doing?
Good.
Yeah, doing good. Good to be with you.
I'm glad to have you all here with me. All right, so starting out here, first question, where did the idea or inspiration for your film come from?
It's funny, it's been a couple years now since we had the pandemic pause, so I have to reach back in my memory. But we've both been interested in our ecological issues in the environment out here in Northwest Indiana and in Gary. And, we wanted to show something of the terrain and the waterways in our region. And I definitely wanted to see what he could do with that because I've known him for a number of years and we've worked together for quite a while now. So he was, when I saw the call for films, I was like, I want to see what Raymar can do getting into this river that even a lot of people who live here don't even know it exists.
Yeah. I was one of those people.
Yeah.
Well, like that, then kind of maybe segueing over to Raymar, then the idea of getting into the river, what did that process look like when it came to filming, editing? What do you have any unique stories or unique adventures and tales that came from making the film?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing we did was a canoe ride, and I had never been on a canoe. So
Mhm.
sitting at the very front and trying to keep the camera steady and trying to capture everything was definitely like it wasn't too hard, but it was a challenge because I'd never been
Mhm.
on a canoe. So, just a little bit of fear. Like
Yeah, totally. It was a scary environment in some ways too. Like
Yeah.
a lot of assaults on the senses. We had the major highway. There's a lot of litter. It's very parts of it are developed and parts are undeveloped. So I almost kind of fell in at one point, and I grabbed him for dear life and was screaming. And I'm sure that just made it a little worse for you, actually.
I
But
was
we're here.
I was gonna say, like, being on a canoe is not what I would describe as the most sturdy experience. So then putting a camera in the water and trying to do something technically challenging doesn't sound like the easiest experience. Well,
yeah.
very cool. All right. So moving on from there, then how do you see the connections between storytelling in your film and then helping folks understand our relationships with the environment?
You want to start with that one?
I mean, well, I think, well, like I said, I really didn't know about the river that much. I mean, I would see it, but I didn't really even know it had a name. And we talk about access and we talk about, just knowing that the river is there, that it's in our backyard, and that, people actually use it. I had no idea about that either. And we definitely want more people to, get involved in or just, be aware of the river and use it, because it's there. I mean, we should use it.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think we were able to take some kind of familiar things about Gary's history in particular and the region's history to a lesser degree. We did keep our focus on Gary, um, and kind of tell the known history in a different way by making the river and the people around the river the focus of it. So we were able to hit on issues of industrialization, racism, classism, environmental racism, inequalities. We were able to touch on the really big things in a fairly quick way, actually, very direct way. So I think getting our guests, the people we talk to who are really the feature of the film, and just focusing on people who were doing the work, whose work revolved around this specific waterway, and just having them talk about what they did and why. I feel like that's really helped make a connection, between the viewer and the subject matter. They see people, just kind of regular, normal people talking about issues that are there. And I think, and this is a testament to his directorial skills and his editing skills. Like we were able to get on some things I think a lot of people around here don't want to talk about. Some people want to ignore that. Some people completely obliterate nature. There's no nature in Gary, Indiana, according to some people. Other people see this as sort of a calm detente between heavy industry and nature, and we wanted to show that it's not quite calm at all. Actually, it's had some devastating impact on some communities, and it's ongoing. But at the same time, people, there's not only that struggle, but there are people recreating, and there are people helping increase the access to the water. And that in urban farming in Gary in the past maybe couple of years, 5 years, is such a significant change from what I remember growing up around here.
I love that. Back when not to digress too much, but back when my wife and I first started dating, she lived in Chicago. And so for 2 years there, every other weekend, I would drive up I-65 and either hop on the toll road or hop on 84 and swing around. As I'm driving through the region, I always had that macro level view of there's a lot of industry here, but you also had several waterways around you. And I was like, how did we get here? I can see it on a macro level, but your film, like seeing sites I saw all the time for those 2 years on a micro level, that was really impactful to me. So I really appreciate you all putting that story together.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate everything you all did, because it was an amazing tour, getting around the state, getting to talk to people from different parts of the state. That was wonderful.
We were happy to be there and happy to be there with you all out on the road. All right, so I've got a few more questions for you all to wrap us up here. One, have there been any updates? Let's try that again. Have there been any updates to the story that you all documented in the film, whether that be your guests or the waterway itself?
I think that access continues to grow. I think interest continues to grow. I do a YouTube video blog, the Calumet Wilderness. This is my little commercial. Please check that out as you're on YouTube. Watch this video and then go to another one after that. But I can see directly how people are interested, and the interest is growing. Because like at this point, I'll get an email almost every week from a complete stranger just saying thank you. And like folks really like when I do videos about new access points coming to the rivers, like Deep River and Hobart and Lake Station. So that's definitely happened. I think the big one, and we didn't get to feature these wonderful folks in the film, but the Northwest Indiana Paddlers Association got a very large grant to clear all of the log jams off the Little Cal in Porter County. And it's going to open all that up to recreation. Right now, there's only about 5 miles that you can paddle in that part of the river. So they're going to open up, probably close to 20 miles when all is said and done. So I think that's phenomenal. That's great success.
Rock on. Love to hear that. All right. So then moving forward, or at least moving forward maybe a little bit more into the present than rather the film itself, how do you feel like Calumet, the region's river, has been received by audiences? Are you enjoying talking with folks about it? And I know we just had a story before we started filming that you may want to reflect on for the audience again.
Yeah, well, yesterday, which is not actual yesterday when folks are watching this, but on Sunday, the 4th of December, we had a screening in Cedar Lake, Indiana, who had the traveling display about the waterways from Indiana Humanities about the Hellbender River. So we did our film and Caitlin's film. And for a day when the Chicago Bears were playing the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers probably making his last appearance here, we had 30 people come out, which is an excellent turnout for a community of that size. And, folks were coming out with their Bears gear, and don't check the score on the phone, don't tell us. But we showed our film, it's 15 minutes. We had a 90-minute discussion come off of that screening. And those folks were a phenomenal audience, just so engaged. And our film about Gary really resonated with Cedar Lake, which is a community that does have some similarities, including a waterway that gets kind of maligned unfairly. And there's great work happening down there. So yeah, that's been wonderful. What was your favorite screening?
Probably the one in Gary, for sure.
Yeah.
There were a lot of interesting conversations that, just between, like, not even with us, just people in the audience were just having a lot of back and forth. And that was very interesting. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. That's how Cedar Lake was actually, in a way. I love the Fowler one because I've been driving by the Fowler Theater in Crown Point, Indiana. There's a sign that says Fowler 63 miles. And when we were younger, we were like, is there a sign that says Crown Point 63 miles and Fowler? Let's go. Gas was 89 cents a gallon back then. So we go check that out. And you don't miss that theater. Even before it was renovated, it really stood out down there. And what they've done with that is just amazing. The Arts Plaza next door, really amazing. So for me to see this building, I'd never been in there before. So to be able to have our film screening to a full house like that, I think, what do we do? 2 screenings? I think we ended up, there's so many people, we had to do it twice.
Like close to, if not over 300 people. I'm pretty sure that was a really great night. That, and like seeing it on the big screen like that, I know we had it in a lot of places, but that packed house movie theater feel, that was unbeatable for sure.
Yeah, it was great. So yeah, the response has been really good. There's 3 parts in our film where the audience reacts, and every screening that have, the mention of the E. coli in the water, talking about the fish and the health quality, and then talking about how the Grand Cal and Indiana Harbor Shipping Canal have, statistically been shown to be the most polluted bodies of water in the country. Those 3 they knock people. It's a gut punch. And then, balancing against the beautiful nature and the way you film that and those sort of dreamy qualities that your work brings in. It makes people deal with some cognitive dissonance, makes us deal with it even. So yeah, I still love watching it after 2 years or whatever it's been. It's a good film.
It's being at so many of those screenings and hearing some of the facts like about the E. coli and being the most populated body of water in the country. Like a gasp every time somewhere in the crowd you heard like a little intake of air, and I was like, they got him again this time, which that's the point of the film. They need to.
That's the part we canoed through. Yeah, we didn't know that obviously till after we done it, and we look back and yeah, we wanted to do something that was kind of, it's cliche to say, but we wanted something real. We wanted, Gary is either, when folks focus on Gary, it's either like they just focus on the negative entirely, or they do the opposite, which is they ignore reality and just focus on a couple of really great things. And I think both of them are kind of damaging. And we have a lot of conversations about the way our city is portrayed in major media and on YouTube and independent media. So, another reason for gratitude is we've had this chance not only to make this film and show from the residents' perspective, but also to have that audience and have help reaching that audience. And, it's still, you put up a video on YouTube that's, Gary, the most miserable city in the world. It'll get 3 million views eventually. And we're happy if we can get a few hundred or a few thousand, but we're going to keep at that. Just drown that garbage out and just try to be nuanced and fair.
I love that, guys. All right. Then last question for y'all before I let y'all get out of here then. What's next for this? It's a 2-parter, so I'm cheating. What's next for this film, and then what's next for the 2 of you?
What is next for the
film? Well, obviously folks are watching this on YouTube right now. And we're really excited now that it is going to be available, because we did have a lot of people who don't feel safe going out in public for a variety of reasons, and we tried to accommodate, but sometimes you can't keep up with all the requests, which is a wonderful problem to have. So we're glad that it's going to be more accessible that way. I mean, I think it's going to stay fresh for a while. I don't think it's going to get dated quickly. I think it kind of captures this moment. So we want to invite like any teachers anywhere in the state or anywhere, show it in the classroom, just roll with that. And if you want to have us come or talk about it, we'd love to keep doing stuff like that. So, it's a great question, because actually last night I was like, are these going to be the last times I talk about this movie on social media? I promote my work, and is this sort of the end? I think one thing I do want to bring out is that he was awarded, sorry, I put you on the spot, my friend, but he was awarded for the Jury and Audience Award for Best Regional Short Documentary at the Gary Black International Film Festival.
Congrats, that's news. Phenomenal. I didn't even know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's the best, because like that's a hometown thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll milk that a bit. We updated our resumes with it.
Love it. Congrats, guys. That's so cool.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And then, what we're doing next, we were actually just talking about that. So
I mean, I have a couple things planned, but and I don't really want to talk about it just yet. But basically, I'm get my filmmaking to another level. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm looking forward to it, and definitely let me know when I can watch the next thing. I'm very excited for it.
I would like to tell you all to go to YouTube and type in Benji Ramone with a G. It's the G, right?
Is it?
Oh. Well, if the G doesn't work, put a J in there. But he's got a song called Junkyard Ride, and it's a love song to the Calumet region in Chicago. He directed it. It sounds like the Ramones. It's one of the best punk songs I've heard in years, actually. Played it for all the old punk rockers around the region, and they were like, yep, the kids got it. So just everything about that video, the music, the production, the video itself is so punk, including what I told him is they put the perfect punk summer video out in November, which is a very punk thing to do.
Yeah.
So please check that out. And then we're going to do, I guess I could allude to, we're doing some, they're kind of like promotional videos, but they're not like commercial things. It's for some of the groups that are trying to improve access to the river system. So like one of them's up in Chicago, so Illinois business, not Hoosier business. But yeah, we're going to put some small videos together that can help these groups doing these Herculean tasks just get a little more attention.
Yeah. I love that. Well, I can't think of a better note to end on than helping small businesses and supporting the Ramones. So on behalf of myself, Raymar, Sam, the entire team at Indiana Humanities, I want to thank everybody for tuning in for yet another awesome interview. If you're interested in watching and learning more, please check out the remaining films and interviews on our Indiana Humanities YouTube channel. Lastly, I couldn't finish this moment off without thanking the Joe and Carol Trimmer Indiana Film Fund, as well as the Nina Mason Pulliam Charitable Trust for their support for this project. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in.